Jocelyn, you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to call the meeting of order. Unfortunately, Fernando is delayed. Yep. So you ready? Fernando, can you hear us?
Yes. Thank you for waiting. My apologies for running late on this. I'm here.
Great. Okay. All right.
You can sing happy birthday now by
Steve.
yourself to Steve. It's his birthday.
Oh my God. All right. I'll sing it later.
Okay. All right, Fernando, we're waiting for you. The agenda.
Yes.
So we've already called the meeting to order. We're in the discussion phase. We're at phase two. We're on number 2, which is review of the update of the GIT works order and costs submission. So you had questions? The engineer is here.
Yeah, and I'm driving again, but going by recollection, I think item 2 was related to the watershed, sub-watershed definitions, and
Excuse me,
perhaps
one second. Giorgio, why don't you come forward?
Giorgio's going to come.
One second, Fernando. Giorgio, come so he can answer your questions.
Yeah.
Hi, Giorgio.
Hi, Giorgio.
Hi, Fernando. Can you hear me okay, or?
I can hear you perfectly fine.
Where you're from?
Okay, my name is Giorgio Tachiev. I'm a president of GIT Consulting, and I have been awarded with this project, and currently we're discussing the budget and also any outstanding questions.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Giorgio. Just wait. Fernando, go ahead.
Yes, I just want to reiterate my initial question, Georgia, and I'm driving, but I'm yielding from memory here on task 2. I noticed that you had identified and correct me if I'm wrong, the delineation or really looking into sub watersheds within the watersheds. I remember one time a while ago when you and I had spoken about this project, we had identified the watershed. And I'm just trying to understand, being the flatness of it all, if we're required to do additional sub watersheds, what benefit that would bring, or I guess I would ask you what exactly do you plan to do with task 2?
Okay, that's a very good question. I think it's very important to look at the watersheds and the delineation. For this, in our updated version, and we originally discussed this aspect, we are considering using a 2D overland flow, and I mentioned the model that's going to be Mike Plus. It's a different model. ICPR also has 2D. One of the advantages of using the Mike Plus model is that it will use the actual topography based on LiDAR, for which we have 1 foot, it's 1 foot accuracy of the cells, and
Yes.
also it allows you to implement a control operation of various components. For example, the way we were hoping that we can optimize on the cost is first introduce this control. For example, when the pump would be activated,
Right.
and we're considering for we wanted to look at distributed system. That means going back through the entire proposal was we would be looking first at available space, and then we'll try also to implement a combination of potentially a very small pump and also a drainage well, which is going to be used in the very beginning when there is some capacity. We know that for a larger rainfall, the drainage well will not have sufficient capacity, but at this point we will have a combination of valves that will redirect the stormwater runoff as it's collected in the localized area. It will redirect the stormwater runoff further down the outfall. And what we also want to verify that the initial storage that a well could provide can be used as a water quality, one of the water quality conditions, because you have to retain some the initial 1 inch, or how the district defines it, South Florida Water Management District, fraction of an inch, to retain it into for water quality treatment. So we will be looking into this, and if we can absorb the initial surface runoff, which is mostly polluted, and as it exceeds the capacity of the wells, it will be redirected further down in a force main. So the pump will be would be pumping from the localized depressions that collect water and downstream. So that's slightly different concept, and I think that we will be working on optimizing this. So we will create a set of modules that will include a small pump. Let's say it's not going to be more than 5 or 10 CFS as needed. We'll be looking at the depressions and where it would be located, and to provide the most beneficial location that will allow then pumping downstream. So for this, we and also the importance of or the difference in using 2D model is that typically when we do delineation with a 1D model, we assume all of the properties of the surface, the soil, are the same for this delineation. And which means that sometimes the rows, the pervious, impervious, all of this falls under the same category. With the 2D model, what we typically assign, let's say if we have a 1 foot resolution, each cell will have its own property in terms of infiltration, capacity, in terms of runoff. So I think that would be, because the area is very small, we think that it will be beneficial for the entire project to have an accurate 2-dimensional model, which is not only, it is 2-dimensional, but it also has 1-dimensional components. All the pipe systems will be implemented, the current, and then we'll be looking more into retrofitting of, for example, we will identify locations that are low and or based on the what you have in the past historically, you have identified like flooding based on pictures or images, and we'll look for in the surrounding where we can install this combination of pump, whether it's one small pump and 1 well or 2 wells to absorb the initial. And we think that will be able, this will be able to reduce the load on the drainage system. Instead of draining the entire runoff amount under the condition of the very low hydraulic gradient, we will be able to pump. And when we do the 2-dimensional model, in this case, we don't have a delineation. And other than that, if we continue with 1-dimensional model, we will provide much higher resolution in terms of, for example, if we previously used for, let's say, 20 watershed, we need to go through maybe to apply more, incorporate more watershed. I can give you an example for the stormwater master plan of Miami. We had in some cases watersheds that are 0.1 acre. Where there is a sufficient, so that we can have this flexibility if we're limited to use only 1-dimensional, but our proposal is to use a 2D model.
Yes.
Let me know.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I apologize. Because a lot of information that you're providing, and I think it's great information. First of all, for the benefit of the public, can you clarify, you're using the Mike Shee model? Is that the Danish or Dutch model that you're using?
Yes, so this is the Danish model. That's
Okay.
This has several components. One is it changed in the past. One is which is equivalent to the ICPR. It was Mike 11, then it was called Mike Hydro. Now it is called Mike Plus. So the Mike Plus is the 1-dimensional part that incorporates all of the pipe systems, 1-dimensional components.
Perfect.
It's a hydrodynamic one. So
Yeah.
that's it includes also
That's
control.
good. Yeah, I don't mean to interrupt you. I just want to make sure that we don't go way too technical, but I just want to kind of guide the discussion to understand and just to see if I understand you correctly. So you will apply a different model. And the first question that I have is that, and I don't know this, is it in the event that we need to correlate that model with ICPR, does Mike, Mike Plus provide the capacity to interrelate with the ICPR or use that data? I know that's a one-dimensional versus a two-dimensional, but a lot of work has been done on that model, and we would hate to throw that away. So I'm wondering if there is a possibility, or you will be using that model, or can you combine them?
They cannot be combined, but the output is comparable. And if your recommendation is that we proceed with the one dimensional, we can look at the benefits and what is the expected. That's something that I believe we can discuss, because if you,
Okay.
after all, this project is being done for you,
Yeah.
and my recommendation was based on, I'm familiar with both models. I have done lots of projects for using Mike models, such as flood protection level of services. I conducted flood protection level of service for the South Florida Water Management District, where mostly the Mike She combination is used with Mike. It's because Mike She is one model. It takes care of the hydrology, and Mike Plus is the hydraulics.
No, yeah,
The
and
Mike, yes.
just for the benefit of the public, again, this is a very sophisticated model, and the Dutch use it, the Danish use it. I'm all for it. I'm not questioning the model itself. I just want to make sure that there's some level of compatibility, so we don't find ourselves remodeling. We already spent over $1 million in modeling, so we just need to be sure that if we're going to do that, and I already heard what you're going to do with that. You intend to maximize the capacity of the wells. That was going to be my next question, to try to utilize the wells first, and then, say, for lack of a better word, overflow into what would be a future system. But what's your opinion as to moving the needle? I mean, we can engage in a new model. We can create a new digital twin of what it would look like. But the question here is, the bottom line for the residents and for everybody is really the amount of, obviously, to take care of the level of service, but it's also to make sure that we're not spending that amount of money. And I've stated this in the past. My concern is that while modeling is great, while developing a digital twin is great, the question is, are we moving the needle cost-wise? Or are we going to end up with plus or minus 10 CFS? Are we not? I mean, is it going to reduce the pipe sizes, which in turn will reduce excavation, which in turn will reduce impacts to the utilities? Those are the things that are really drive the cost, as you know very well, Sergio.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Fernando. I completely agree with you. I think that's all. It's a really good point. And the way we'll address this is that we're not focused so much on creating a new model and do another exercise of modeling. I think this has been done. ICON has done remarkable work in terms of developing this model, and also considering that I was part in this in the very beginning, and also in the analysis. I think what we will try to do is a little bit different. That we will try to incorporate, and that could be incorporated either in the Mike Plus model or either in the ICPR model. There are some advantages of the Mike Plus model because we want to introduce also ability to control with sensors. We are considering that we will install sensors, and at certain level, for example, when you have certain level of flooding, the pump will start working and will be sending the discharge through the well until it comes to some point, because there are some limitations how much you can pump in the ground. At some point, when you exceed this, the pump will switch the condition and will start pumping downstream. So that was the major consideration really for using the Mike Plus. Other than that, I'm expecting we will get very similar results from both, except that conceptually we're introducing another component, localized approach, localized flooding and treatment, mitigating locally the flooding, as opposed to trying to rely on the system. So that's really the difference.
Yeah, but I like the idea of maximizing the utilization of the wells. That has been a sticking point, and and if we can do that, I'm all for that. The question is, they're so sporadic in their location throughout the village that if we're going to do that, that has to tie back into the existing system. So based on their I don't necessarily think it's a bad idea to use the wells as best as we can. The question is, do we need to build a connection system from the wells into the future system to ensure that we are overflowing into the existing pipes?
Yes, actually, this is the intent. We will build the. They
But then
will
that
be
will require a
integrated.
new pipe, additional
They will
infrastructure.
require connection. Yes, that will require connection, which we don't consider that it's going to be a large size because it will only be used to mitigate areas of concern, and we will identify those and we will draw them on the map. Then we will look at the available space, and then they will have to be integrated. That our is to have all of this integrated and be able to, particularly for these two aspects. If you have a rainfall like a small little flash flooding that's going to be for a very short time, they will be able to. They will have some capacity, and they will also provide a treatment that's required because the county has their own requirements.
Right.
And in addition, so we will be looking in all these aspects simultaneously, and also not only that, but as soon as we identify area of concern and come up with a strategy, we will have cost management applied to understand what is the cost of this, and so that we have immediate understanding of the cost, because that's a driving factor. It
Well,
seems.
yeah, like I said, and the reason why I'm sounding, I don't mean to I'm getting on the practical cost side. And again, emphasizing the fact that although I do think the wells could provide some initial support, say for the first flush, the question is that we're going to require to build an additional pipe to connect into the proposed system. So we're adding additional infrastructure. All I'm asking is just to take a look at it. I have no problem with evaluating this, but now I'm going to speak more to the committee. I think it's very important for the committee to take this into consideration, because if the purpose is to reduce cost, if that's what we're trying to achieve here, then there's a balance on this. What is being said is very acceptable. Engineering wise, it's very sophisticated and acceptable. The question is, are we moving the needle from a cost standpoint? And with that, I'll yield back to the chair. Thank you, Sergio. I appreciate it.
Ed, do you have any questions for Sergio? You have
Giorgio.
your mic's off.
I'm sorry. You prefer the 2D model over the 1D model?
I think it provides
And that's
benefits,
what,
but
we're going to go with what, at least my impression is, I'm not going to second guess you. If you believe that's where to go, I'm all for doing however you think you should do this thing, period. And I read what you prepared, what you sent. I'm not an expert. I'm just an old general contractor. And to me, it looks just fine. I have no other questions.
I don't either.
Mike?
Steve, do you have any further questions? No? Okay.
No, I think the question's been asked.
Yeah, okay, very good. Because asked and answered. All right, so moving on. Thank you, sir. Thank
Well,
you,
the
sir.
other thing, excuse me,
Wait, go ahead,
what
sorry.
Giorgio did mention was that basically as he goes through this thing, as it goes on, he'll also be basically estimating ballpark cost on the thing, which will answer pretty much what Fernando was talking about, moving the needle. Obviously, at least to me, it appears that this be a huge difference. More than a needle, it's more like and waterfall, so to speak. But we'll find out as we go along where we're going.
I mean, we're gonna come out of this with an estimate.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's the goal.
Yeah.
Good.
If I could add though.
Yes, sir.
One thing, and George, we'll have to go through this as we go through it, as we begin the conversation on the reliance of existing line versus potentially new systems, we're just going to have to understand how adequate existing lines are and whether not just size wise, but also in terms of their age.
Sure.
And their ability to tie into a new system. So, and I'm sure he's going to take that into consideration as he goes through.
Yeah.
You know, we just can't assume that the existing system as it stands is adequate to support a new system. So,
Correct.
What are our pipes made out of?
Chris, what are pipes made out of? I mean, I knew we've got different types of pipes because we have about 4 different systems in the ground, but generally speaking,
The French drain system uses aluminum pipe or HDPE, one of those two. The well casings are.
No, the pipe, I'm not the wells, Chris, just the base of the drainage pipes.
Right.
pipes.
Yeah, they would be either PVC, which is referred to as HDPE, high density polyethylene,
Yeah.
or aluminum.
And the lifespan of that is what? Pretty long?
Pretty long for both.
mean-
You're looking at probably 30, 40 years
At least.
at least.
Can you,
Yeah, thank you.
Chris, is there a way to pressure test that pipe?
No,
So,
you
There's
don't.
no pressure in these
no,
pipes.
no, it's just.
Yeah, on a French drain system, it's perforated pipe, so you're not pressure
Okay,
testing
right,
it.
right, right.
But on
These
the
no
gravity
way-
system,
Yeah.
the joints aren't really made pressurized.
Okay.
They're not like water that's not HDP, I'm
They're
sorry, it's not
they're
ductile iron that's
They're not sleeved, they're just have
mechanically
O-rings
correct.
in them. Okay, got it.
correct.
Thanks, Chris.
Yep, thanks. Just thinking about the oil field pipe pressure tested. All right, so this leads this leads into task number 2, which is project management plan discussion. Steve,
What is it? I'm sorry.
sorry, the next item is project management plan and discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, so as we, I think we really have to determine, how we're gonna do this internally, externally. We've got quite a bit of projects going on.
Right.
So we gotta talk through who that person is, or who that firm is, or who that person is, how we're gonna pay them, what their roles and responsibilities are.
I think that basically Fernando's had experience, Mike's had experience, and I've had experience dealing with engineers, architects, contractors, and I think we can handle it ourselves and basically then seek help as we need it. But I would think that both the 3 of us should be able to handle it without any outside help. And I would,
So,
Like that Chris
are you
Bailey has-
prepared to sunshine every time you talk to our consultant?
well, Sunshine, I have to talk to him. I have to Sunshine or when 2 people are there.
Well, yeah, if all 3 of
As
you. are
long as
there
one
together.
person talks to him, we don't have to Sunshine, correct?
Yes, but we
Thank
can't have a 3-person.
That's fine. So
group of
fine.
people
I
who don't.
understand.
And I don't think Fernando's gonna jump on board. with
I
that concept.
appreciate the volunteering me for that, but as a elected official, I don't think, I can do project management as a consultant, but as an elected official, I think we'll be overstepping certain boundaries that we are not, in my opinion, appropriate. I think that should be yielded to the administration. I appreciate Councilmember London intent to, work on this, but I just don't think that's an idea I'm willing to entertain right now.
Got it, Fernando. Would we be willing to discuss utilizing Chris or Chris's team to do this?
We could, but we'd have to tell you then what he can't do as a result of it.
But he could
There's always a trade-off with
he-
time and money.
Agreed, but he
And,
could also staff if he needed to, correct?
What do you mean by staff?
Internally staff. We could hire him some additional personnel.
We could try.
Or we could hire a consultant. Have a meeting, get some things and see if we can hire somebody.
The village.
Ad hoc council committee.
We could recommend potential subcontractor help, right?
If
Well,
need be.
yeah, we'd have to go, we don't recommend, we'd have to put it out for bid.
That's
Right.
right. Yeah,
We
we have to go
for
through
bid.
the procurement process again.
Right.
Yeah, okay,
So if we want to do that, or we can use the existing firm we have, which is Black and Veatch.
right.
So there's options, but there are trade-offs for everyone.
Sure, okay. Well, do we have to make that decision now?
We don't have to make a decision now, but I think we need to understand the implications of all of it, right?
Right.
We use staff. It keeps us from doing pretty high priority projects. Not saying that this isn't high, but that's always a trade-off on what we use.
Correct.
We do have an existing project manager, and we could use.
Right.
If we do go out for bid, we'd have to go out to bid. We go
Right.
through the same process we just went through with this.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that, okay, that does that.
And just to go, and we actually mentioned a 4th one, which is hiring somebody.
Right.
Likelihood of getting anyone of value for a temporary position which I'd assume it would be, is slim to none. We can certainly try, but I don't think we're gonna be able to get.
Of course, it could be somebody could hire, who could be temporary position, it could be a project matter if we go forward with it. Instead of using Black and Veatch.
We could have, I mean.
Yeah,
we
but
could-
those people already work for a firm. Those people aren't sitting at home waiting for Key Biscayne to call them up and come work for us.
Well, we
They
can-
already
You
work
never
for
know
us.
unless you look.
Guys, we could go out and
Yeah.
recruit, search, we could do. we
Never
could-
know unless
We
you
could,
look.
we could put we could put a search out for an engineer. I mean, that's,
Oh,
Yeah.
But we can work on that later.
yeah, I don't think that is a huge issue.
We could.
Okay, all right. The next one is the baseline model report. Do we have any update on that?
Yeah, Chris, if you want to give an update on that?
The baseline modeling report is in process, is working. The PO was just issued. So, but they have already started working on that report. I don't have an exact information as to exactly where they're at, but I know that they've collected information for it.
So do you believe, I'm sorry. So Chris, do you believe that we'll have that for the next council meeting?
Yes,
Okay, good. All right.
yes. It is progressing.
Okay,
Yeah, it'll be available for the 14th, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it will.
it'd be great to have a little heads up before, before the
Yes.
council meeting. So, but, you know, obviously push them as hard as you can, please.
Yes, yes. we have.
The bottom line, reading through the lines of what he's saying is we had some pretty urgent permit requests that AECom had to address.
Okay.
Which means our deadline of September 30th, they asked for it to be 1 week later, so October 7th. So we'll have it ready for the 14th.
All right, thank you, Chris.
Well,
We stay up there because on the stuff we're about
Okay.
to talk about.
Is there anything else? Preparation for October 14th council meeting? I think we,
Yeah, so let's talk about first, you guys are gonna have to vote on the work order. You haven't voted on that yet,
Right.
but we'll put that at the end. So,
Okay.
talk them through the previous one. We approved the rate sheet and we're combining that with the professional services agreement and steps moving forward. How's that moving with the process to get to the 14th?
we have the process to move to the 14th. So tonight you have to approve and actually recommend to move forward the rate sheet, the updated rate sheet that the firm has submitted. Once that is approved and recommended by you, we're going to take that. The memo has to be prepared and sent to the clerk to be put on the agenda, which we already have time penciled in. And I imagine that's being prepared by you to be put on the agenda and approved for the council.
Now, we'll prepare it.
We'll prepare the memo.
Yeah, no, we won't have, there's no need for a memo.
Okay.
They can jump. All we will have is the professional services contract with the rate sheet.
Right.
Yeah, we won't need a memo.
So what do we have to do, basically? The question is, or what?
we have to approve. the
When
rate.
you say we as the committee or you as the council?
Committee, yes.
Nothing on that.
Okay.
No, you approve the rate sheet. I'm just telling you, we're gonna be moving it through as part of the
Fine.
professional services agreement, and it'll be on the council on the 14th.
Is there anything would hold this thing back getting by? So it won't be on the October 14th agenda.
Okay, so we can call vote for right now for the rate sheet, correct?
No, fine.
We could call a vote for the rate sheet now.
Well, you guys already approved the rate
We
sheet.
already approved the
Yeah,
rate
you
sheet, so
approved
we
that
now
last
we approve the scope of work.
Now you approve the scope of work, and then
Correct.
we'll move that forward.
All right, so I'm gonna call.
I
the
have
vote
a
for the
quick
scope of
question, if
work.
I may, Mr.
Yeah,
Chair.
Please go ahead, Fernando. We're in discussion.
Thank
can
you.
discuss.
Yeah. I have a question on the deliverables. What are we getting for deliverables? What is the deliverable of this task?
Giorgio would get asking.
Giorgio? Question from Fernando. You want to repeat it, Fernando, for Giorgio, please?
Yeah, Giorgio, can you please articulate what the deliverable is for this project, for this task? What are we getting?
Okay, for this, what we are planning to do, we have 5 tasks. For each task, we will provide a separate memo, which will be combined to one single report, which will provide all the quantities, water budget analysis, and what is going to be ultimately the level of service, what compliance, our goal with compliance with the original data that we were received from the village for required level of service. So provide that. We'll also provide maps with location of proposed wells numbers, and also proposed local pumps with locations, and also the basic drawings for them. And we also discussed that we will provide, it's not going to be 30%, but we'll call it nearly 30%, which will include the pipe diameters, the pipe sizes, locations. In addition to this, the modeling report will include all of the information related to the costs. So we'll provide a level 5 cost analysis, which is typically known as plus minus 50%. And that will be the deliverable. And also, we wanted to have right from the very beginning a discussion of exactly, we'll provide us a work plan, which we'll expect that you will review, and then we can clarify the deliverables as that's the conceptual idea about what we'll deliver. And if you have anything specific that it will be needed.
Well,
we can-
yes, I mean, if I may, I appreciate it, what you're saying. My question is, the village has already spent 4 million, or it's going to be in the contract, 4 or 5, what's the total? I'm not gonna, the total of close to $4 million for design or more. I think it makes sense, if we're going to be spending this money, is to have an idea, because really at the end of the day, what I know that the council's looking for is not a second opinion, but rather, it is in a way a second opinion in the sense of what we already have. Because it's not a question of, we can always have, the saying we have in engineering, there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. And I want to make sure that the residents of the community have a guideline and an understanding of what we're actually doing and why are we doing this once we spent already over $4 million in the design. So I would appreciate if we could have from you some form of short of a critique, an understanding of where the AECOM model could improve. That way, I think it combines, it's logical, it helps combine the investment and make sense of this investment as well. And, if it's necessary to add additional hours so you can coordinate with AECOM and understand better from them, I would be all for that. Because at the end of the day, we're bringing you on board because we know very well how experienced you are in the subject, but it has to be a comparison to something. And that's what the residents have spent a lot of money on already. So I'm speaking to you, but I'm also speaking to my fellow committee members.
Michael, you want to address
This
it?
is,
No,
we need to have a comparative analysis, not just a standalone independent thought, because at the end of the day, we're going to be a toss and a coin. Which model do we pick? And that's not in the position we want to be, and not for our residents.
Fernando, I think that's exactly what we want, is the ability to make that decision. So,
Yeah, but it's not listed and I didn't hear it.
okay, so I believe that's exactly what we want, is we want an alternative design so that we can make a decision based on economics, and that's the goal that we were tasked with from the beginning by the mayor. So, if he feels comfortable with giving some level of I don't even think we don't want to do that. That's
No.
not what we're here to do.
Basically, Fernando, he's going to come up with a plan. And the plan is going to say, we're going to achieve this level of service at this approximate cost by using this system, which is different than the system you already considered with AECOM.
I know,
We can then make
Ed, I know what he's
We
doing,
then
Ted,
make
I
it-
appreciate that.
We then basically can make a decision. When I say we, the council, can look at them both and say, hey, this system looks good, or but it's not that much better, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper, but it doesn't do everything the other one do, and we make a decision. I think that's what
Right.
the council is
But-
supposed to do. It's not him making the
but-
decision. He'll tell us what he can do. We know what AECOM can do, and then we look at both of them, we'll decide.
Yeah, I mean, that's the job of the elected official.
Exactly.
But this is not an apples to apples. This is a complete re-engagement of the design of the model. This
We're
is not
looking-
an apples to
we care
apples.
about the design, we care
Nobody,
about the results.
no.
The results.
Forget,
We're off the
no,
street.
no. The results, no. You're using a different machine to get a different, another result. That's not what the
Right.
residents have invested on. The residents have
So
invested in a model and spent over $5 million for a model,
Invest in anything.
and we want to
We did.
reinvent the wheel.
no
But
idea.
Guys,
please,
guys, whoa. We're not gonna let this
I'm
go into an
asking
argument.
for, all I'm asking is for the engineer to provide an analysis and to coordinate with AECOM so we have a right design.
No.
Fernando,
Well-
I think we're gonna call the vote,
Um,
okay? I
Yeah, I
appreciate your
can't vote
input.
on this way, unfortunately.
Okay. well,
I
we
can't vote it as is.
All right, well, then you can excuse yourself from the
Can I
vote.
respond to?
Yes, please,
Fernando?
go ahead, Giorgio.
Fernando, I agree with you, and we will have a comparative, regardless of anything, when we do, whether we do design or whether we do any other engineering work, we always compare with previous studies. That this is our baseline. So we expect actually that we will be discussing with AECOM to have availability to discuss with them. We will be moving in a different way, but we will be relying on their data and we'll be relying with the information that they already have collected.
Right. Well, that's great then. Then you and I understand each other. What I'm asking you then is to include the necessary coordination or revise the task so it's listed in there so we know what we're paying for. I appreciate you agreeing with me. It makes sense in every aspect.
Let's, Giorgio, excuse me. Do you have that in your current, do you have that coordination in your current number?
We envisioned that we will be taking all available data, we'll be reviewing it, so that is included into this.
Okay, perfect. So it's included.
No,
in
but
the
that's
current-
not, no. I'm sorry. I don't want really seriously, can we talk about what's important here? We need to have an opinion on this design. We cannot just do another design. That doesn't make any sense. I have to be honest with you. The engineer just agreed with me. What he's just trying to tell you is that he has only got hours dedicated for review of existing plans. But he needs to have proper coordination and he needs to come back to council with an understanding of what he's reviewed and why his design is better or what could be done with AECOM's design to improve it and save costs.
No,
That's
not
what
his
needs to
job.
be done here.
Not his job.
That is his job. That is his job.
No, it's not.
Guys,
Otherwise, we're
guys,
telling, why don't we tell the public that we're going to go ahead and do a new design of this? We have no basis to think about that, but we want to do a brand new design. We want to spend another $4 million just because we feel like this design, the other design is not good. No, I don't think that's what the public wants. They want to
Fernando,
really
we've heard
understand
your-
why we're
we've
moving
heard-
in a different
Fernando,
direction.
We've heard your opinion. Okay, we're gonna call this for a vote. All right. Okay.
Well, I just don't think, take the vote, but not without that.
Pardon me?
If I could, why don't we, if you want to vote on this, we can, but why don't I talk to Mr. Takiev after this? He knows what Fernando's asking for. There needs to be a compare and contrast. Maybe we can check the language as it is, and if we can adjust it accordingly, we can make that modifications. This can go forward as it is with maybe a few word modifications.
Okay, so, but hold on.
But I'm asking for a motion that this be included as part of an addendum into this current task order. I'm not accepting it as a coming in and revising it. We're taking a responsibility as a council to do the right thing. And to do the right thing is that if we want a second opinion, we get a second opinion, but we get it with everything. We understand why did we invest that money that way and why we're moving in another direction.
Different approach.
I'm not voting any other way.
This is a different system. So, Steve, yeah, we can't call, guys, thanks for your input. Just,
I just think, look, when you're going to have two different options ultimately we're going to have two different options to select
Correct.
from. And I think we need to have criteria in which to choose which one is better. And I think that's the analysis that he's looking for. It's not that complicated. And I think Giorgio mentioned that there's work to be done, but not significant.
okay,
amount of
so what
work. He
I'm,
has to be able to explain to us why, not just why he thinks it's better, but the calculations and the
the data behind,
parameters that tell us why it's
the
better.
data behind
So there's
that.
got to be some level of comparing. these.
Yeah, but so hold on for a second. So, excuse me, Ed, just one second. So Steve, just to make clear, okay, what you're asking to include is comparable levels of service. So in other words, this system will give this level of service, and the ACOM system will give this level of service. And as long as we have that two bases of information and
No. I'm
and a
sorry.
rough, hold on, I'm speaking, Fernando, 1 second, please. So
Yeah.
we have, as long as we have if we have data that tells us what the level of service is and a cost, rough cost of what that process is going to be, we can do a comparison analysis of the two things, correct?
It's and if you wouldn't mind if I ask George to come back up, I think he understands. I mean, look, it's more than just numbers to numbers, and I think maybe he can explain.
Okay.
It sounds like he understands what Fernando's asking for. I'm not sure whether we need to go to the level that Fernando's asking for, but I think Giorgio has the concept of what he is. If you can at least explain it in his words.
Okay, what Ed would like to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, basically, we've told this gentleman and all the other people who are interested, here's the criteria. Give us a proposal. Forget about what ACOM did. Maybe use their information. You got another way of doing it. Give us your system. We're not asking you to critique or peer review ACOM system. We're saying, hey, start fresh. Can you do something different? And this gentleman says, yes, I have a different kind of system. It's going to employ different things. I'm going to come up with the same limit. Meet your criteria level of service. I'm giving you an estimated cost, what it's going to cost you. Then we have what ACOM is going to do, what he's going to do. And then we'll look at them. We'll say, hey, this is better. This is worse. This is more expensive. This is not. This is good to 2060. This is only good to 2050. And we'll make a decision. But for him to go do something like that.
Council does not
Number
have,
one,
we're
he's
not
biased.
drainage engineers, sir.
I'm talking Fernando.
Fernando, you're interrupting, please.
So first of all, he's biased. In all due respect, he's going to give you his system, which obviously he thinks is going to be superior for the cost of somebody else's system. So his opinion to me is no more than you guys here giving us your opinion because you have a big investment in the exact ACOM system at this point. So you're biased, you don't want to be, but just it's a human nature type thing. And you will be. So therefore, I don't want him to give me a comparison. I want him to, hey, give me a system. This is what you can do. This is what it's going to cost. This is what the results are going to be. And then we, like grown-ups, are going to look at it and say, hey, discuss it and come back and forth and come to a decision. And that's all. We don't need him to go ahead. With all due respect, for you to go ahead and give us your comparison.
Fernando, you wanted
I
to
take, yeah, thank you, because I take exception to, the point that is being made loosely that I'm biased with this design. I am not, and what I'm trying to do is exactly the opposite. What I'm trying to do is bring in an objective analysis and critique of the design, so it can be brought up with science and regulations and all the respective things that we owe to our residents. I'm not being biased on the design. All that I'm saying is that this is why I'm here. I'm here to approve another process to make sure that everybody gets a second opinion on ACOM's design, because there's been already enough doubt seated out there, which is fine. People have a right to object against it. But at the end of the day, if we're going to do something, we need to do it right. We have to do it. We can't just throw another design, because like I said before, there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. I didn't ask.
Fernando, you got to wrap it up. You got to wrap it up a little bit. Okay.
What I'm saying is that this needs to have a critique from this engineer. That's it.
Okay.
I said it before.
All right. We heard you, Steve. You had a question for Sir Giorgio, I think.
No, I just want, my question is, I think you get in concept what Fernando's asking for. And I heard that you guys were having some level of connection, engineer connection. How would you interpret what he's saying, and because you started going down the road that you said, yes, we're going to do that.
Let's go through the exercise.
As engineers always do our due diligence, and even for any of the plans, we'll be looking not only at the ICOM, but we'll be looking at the AIC. We'll be looking at the previous company that did in 2009. We'll be looking at the very beginning. I have all of these plans. We'll be looking how things were assumed. There is different assumptions. There are different. So we will always do comparison. Now and we will do our due diligence for this process as well.
Okay, so Steve, what I hear is this is part of his scope of work already. So
No, it's not.
Okay, Fernando,
No,
you can't keep interrupting me. So,
it's not written.
Okay,
And I
so-
think that's the issue that he's
okay,
having.
all right. So how do we calmly put this into writing so that everybody gets appeased?
What I suggest is.
But I don't want to have to come, I don't want to have to do another meeting to come back for another
No,
vote.
it's
Okay.
what I suggest, and if it's okay with the committee, and if it's
Yeah.
okay with Giorgio, that we
Okay.
sit down afterwards. Because I believe, well, he believes it's in there, and I believe that he believes that to be true, so I'm not questioning him.
Okay,
If we can take that wording where he believes he's making that and make it clearer,
okay,
that's what we'll do.
all right.
And
So-
if you're good with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
All right.
look, I don't want us to come up with a product that leaves us as not the engineers to make a decision. He has to come forward with a recommendation.
I think
And he
he's
has to
prepared.
give us a justification as to why his recommendation is better, which is, I'm sure
And
that's
so,
what he
you're,
thinks is when he
you're,
finishes it.
you're prepared to do that, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Okay, so I think we're all in agreement. Okay.
So
all right,
we're looking for some sort of comparison and contrast,
All right.
some sort of analysis to get there.
Okay,
That's what we're
and sorry, do you, as the attorney, you feel comfortable that you can get the paperwork sorted with this?
It'll just be a modification of this.
Okay, got
work
it.
order.
Got it. All right,
That's
so
it,
we
yeah.
can vote.
Fine.
All right, going to call the question to vote.
Mr. Chairman.
All right.
And-
Make a
and-
motion.
I just
I'm
need an amendment that we're going to amend
Like
the
modification.
scope, not approved as is. I can't approve it as is.
Okay, we're not,
Vote against it.
Fernando, we're not asking you to prove it is, we're asking you to prove it with the modification that Steve is suggesting.
And what we'll do is we'll
Uh,
do it as quickly as we can, and we'll have it come back out. And you guys will look at it. No need for a vote unless someone is just dramatically against it,
Let him
and then
vote
we'll
on
move
it
forward
the way
as
it
is.
is today, and then we can do the afterwards, because else we're gonna have a problem.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
But vote the way it's been presented by Giorgio today, okay?
Okay,
Steve afterward is gonna go ahead
so that's your
and meet
motion.
with Giorgio and possibly make some modification. Actually, just, I would say, reduce to writing things we already heard, but Giorgio said is included, okay? That's all.
Okay.
So we should prove it the way it's submitted today.
Make the motion.
Make a motion, we accept as it approved, accept as
I
it
mean,
is
no.
presented today. In a second.
No.
Okay, second.
Call the
So
question.
call the question. Steve, no, but I do want the ability to have you work on this.
We will. We
Okay.
will.
All right.
Yeah, we'll
Okay,
do
good.
it.
Call the
and-
question. All right, Ed,
Yeah, yes.
Bracken, yes. Fernando?
No,
Okay,
Okay, passes.
2-3.
Motion carries.
Anything else? Steve?
Are you gonna have public comments?
Not right now. I'm just asking the manager
Oh, we're
if there's
done.
anything else. 1 second.
No,
Anything
I
else?
thi- I think we're good.
Okay, yes, we'll open the floor for public comment. Luis, but keep it short and sweet, okay? Thank you.
Luis de la Cruz, 640 Allendale. You know, I've come to every one of these meetings, and from the very beginning, it looked like two people had a focus and and wanted to do something, and the other party did not want to do it. And every single meeting has been extended and extended, and we've kicked the can down the road. And it's all been because no one wanted to say, let's find the fellow who designed the original Village of Key Biscayne flood system, and let's have him update it and give us an opportunity to choose between two, two systems. One that we spent an enormous amount of money on. I think it's $8 million at this point. What's worse than having spent $8 million on a design that you're not going to use? Spending $100 million building the design that you're not going to use. That's worse, much worse.
Right.
And when Fernando sits there and he says that that's what the residents want, he has no idea what the residents want. Okay, and I can tell you that because I speak to the residents every day.
All right, good.
Okay.
We got, we heard you, okay? And we're doing exactly
No,
what
no,
you're
it's,
asking.
but the problem is, Mike, that you guys, have met 30 times for something that you could have taken 1 or 2 meetings to take care of.
Government,
You know-
baby, government.
You know, no, that's not, it's only because one person keeps wanting not to give up on ACOM. You know, the guy who was a vice president, you know, of ACOM, senior vice president of ACOM, 6 months before he became a council member for the village of Key
All right,
Biscayne.
all right, guys, but,
Okay,
okay,
so,
but Luis, we
so-
opened it up. We hear you.
okay,
Thanks for your input.
but let's get it done already.
We're moving forward.
Okay.
We just approved
All
the
right,
scope
thank
of
you.
work. If you come to the council meeting next night, you'll see that we vote on it. Okay. All right. Anybody else?
Any other public comments?
All right. Since we have no more public comments, we'll close for public comments. Thanks for everybody for coming.
Make a motion.
Motion to stop.
Make a motion to adjourn.
To make motion to adjourn. Thanks. Go ahead.
Second.
All right. Second, we're done. Thank you. All right.